Hi, this is Julia Bell, and I'm your professor for CITC 1351, Principles of Information Assurance, and this is Fall 2017. Here are the few of the topics that I want to cover. I want to issue a welcome message to you. Welcome to class. This is going to be a great semester. A new module that I'm adding this semester is I am now a C5 security fellow, so I brought in one of their modules that we're going to be using, so that's something new and exciting. I'm going to look at the orientation materials and remind you that I need all of this completed by 9/4 of 2017, so that's next Monday. I realize that's Labor Day, but I need to get these things in and get the course moving because I need to report your attendance for your financial aid. A part of that orientation materials are your syllabus quiz, a netiquette quiz, introducing yourself in the discussion area, and a pretest. None of these items will negatively affect your grade, but I need them in order to count you present for the course, especially for financial aid. It's very, very important. I'm also going to look at our communication and collaboration space. That's Slack that I've signed up for. I'm also going to talk about the Articulate modules that I've created, and I'm going to get you started on looking at the e-labs. Here's a look at the course. I'm logged in as a student. Here's the welcome message I've got out there for you. A little reminder about the financial aid reporting needing to be done by this date. Here are links to the materials, so you don't even have to go find those. Here's the syllabus quiz, the netiquette quiz. However, if you go into the course information and content, all this stuff is here and laid out really well as well. Here is the syllabus for this course. That'll give you the different major milestone dates. For instance, like the date that you drop this course, that kind of thing. We are required to put that in there, and it is there. This is the course ID, so that when you buy your course software, you'll know the course ID to stand up for. Here is the academic calendar for the college, and then lots of other great things. The netiquette quiz, here is a link. I'll start with this one, the Kim one. This is kind of a synopsis that talks about, buying the book. You get two options. You can get the print bundle, which is a hard paper book, and the virtual labs. Here's the retail price on that. You can buy it from the bookstore, or you can buy it directly from JB Learn. It's Jones and Bartlett. Totally your choice. Here is the ebook. So if you like an electronic book, it is a little less money. And you also get the virtual labs with this. If you decide to buy the virtual lab only access, you won't get the book. So do keep that in mind. And that is not an option that I have specified at the bookstore. These are the two bundles the bookstore will have. Okay, and here are some things about setting up that code. Once you buy access to the ebook and or buy access to the virtual lab, you can either get paper book or ebook, but you're going to need a book. And you must have that lab access. You go to JB Learn and redeem that code, and here are those steps. Again, this document is out there for you under the course information content, and it's right here. I want to look at the netiquette. This is nothing other than a short little set of standards that talk about what and how you should behave in an online environment, like an online classroom. The standards for behavior, avoid abusive language, that kind of thing. Here's some core rules, and I've got a couple websites there that I'd like you to look at. There's also a quiz after you go through that material. Here's a syllabus quiz. If you've looked at the syllabus, you could even keep the syllabus open in another window and take this quiz. So, same thing with the netiquette. Again, neither one of these count toward the points for the course, but I do require them to be completed to count you present for your financial aid. Pretest, again, that won't hurt your final score either. I also ask that you post to the introduce yourself and course expectations. If there's something specific you'd really like to look at that maybe I don't include, I maybe can consider adding that. I usually do that every semester because someone comes up with a great idea that maybe I can go ahead and get that ready this semester, or maybe in my next course I can put that in. All right, here's some access things about especially the navigate to and setting up access for those online labs, and some other helpful flyers for those labs. I'm going to go here and look at Chapter 1. Chapter 1, this is nothing other than a link that tells you what pages to read. I actually was able to secure from the vendor Chapter 1 in a PDF. This is something they let us use. I can't get you any other chapters, but Chapter 1, they were willing to share with us. So there is actually a PDF of the first chapter of the book. All right, the lectures, 1A, 1B, 1 was kind of an intense chapter, so it took me a little longer to cover that. I'll show you how these start out. Don't worry, I won't play them to you, but I wanted you to see what it starts like. The first slide will automatically play, and then it doesn't progress to the second one. And it's actually my voice that's on the slides. After it plays this one and I talk through it, you can go to the next one. From this point forward, the slides automatically advance. And I'll advance it just so I can show you a couple of things. Again, I am narrating and giving additional description and conversation through the whole thing. It's having to catch up with me. I went too fast. There are some embedded questions in these. So, for instance, here's one. This is a multi-select question. I'm not going to pick the right answers. I'm just going to pick whatever's at the top. Right, I get it wrong. So it's going to say, hey, try again. I could go through all these and then choose submit at the end. I'm going to exit because I wanted to just show this to you. There's 1A and 1B. Now, some chapters it took me a little longer to cover than others. All right, assignment 1. Let's look at this. And I've got the due date out there for this. This is nothing other than a matching activity. You can have the book open. Actually, this is very similar to something in the book, and you can just fill that out from looking at the book. It is a graded assignment. These questions in 1A and 1B that appear are graded, and they do automatically score and are out there. Video, here's the first lab. Okay, has 3 parts. You've got a lecture presentation, you've got the performing it, and you've got a lab assessment quiz. I'm going to go back real quick. All right, this is actually the performance part. Here's the items that I'm going to want you to turn in for that. Here is a lab quiz. Looks like I messed that up. I'll change that date. This is a non-graded quiz on the chapter. PS helps when you go take the final. All right, I'm going to look at this one. And this will be a Dropbox where you turn these things in. I gave you the deliverable worksheet. These are questions that you'll need to answer and turn in. And then you also need to turn in those screenshots that I've asked for. Open this. Okay. And this is just nothing other than a synopsis of the items that I need. It's also listed here. Thought it might be handy to have a separate document when you're actually going to work on the labs. Lab quiz, these are a series of questions that after you go through the lab, you should be able to answer. If you don't buy the lab software, you will not pass this course. I can tell you. There are 10 significant labs that are in that lab software. You need the software. Okay. I'm already logged into my JB Learning account, jblearn.com. There's a login, I think, over around here. And I'm not going to show you some of the things, other things that are in my teacher's account, so I skipped a couple of those screens. Okay, here is the list of the 10 labs that are out there. Here's some things to know before you begin a lab. Here's the first lab. Okay, performing the tools. These are some of the deliverables and things that I already gave you. Okay, give it a second. All right. If you're not, if you have Citrix Receiver, you're good. If you don't, you can go ahead and download that. You can also verify that your computer is going to meet the standards. The main thing to know here is a good internet connection. This is not a simulation. With this, we have bought access time to someone else's servers, and the software actually is out there, so you're using real live servers, equipment, other PCs. This is not a simulation activity. This is real equipment. And real equipment does very different than simulators. Anyone who's ever used it knows that real equipment may take 2 to 3, maybe 4 minutes, depending how long to come up. In the meantime, I'm going to scroll through some things. Here's the intro. Here are the steps you need to complete. I'm not going to assign the challenge activities, and then it talks about an assessment. The assessments I've already got out there. I put that in our eLearn under the quizzes. Back to the intro. I'm going to bring up the topology. Here's the topology that you're using in this lab. You can see the different servers that here, a Windows, a Kali, a Linux, a second type of Linux, a virtual workstation, a router, and then a switch. So quite a bit of equipment in this particular lab are going to be dedicated for your use. This is going to allow you to expand the questions. Sometimes you want to see this bigger. Here are the tools, the software that you're going to be using in this first lab. Again, the deliverables, but remember also I put that out there in eLearn for you, so you didn't have to go scrambling. The steps. All right. This is going to, believe it or not, walk you through one by one by one. These are the figures. So for instance, from the workstation, double click on the common task. Here it comes. It's logging in. You're starting in a Windows Server 2012 R2 desktop. So this is all the things that are already set up for you. Notice there is a WordPad for you to work in. Some of the other software you might need. It's telling it's got 2 more servers that it's bringing up in the background, which is great. Here are some of the common lab tasks. If you want to see how those work. I also provided that document to you in eLearn. It talks about how to move files from this environment to the desktop of your real PC. Kind of how Flash works here. How to create deliverables. You'll create the reports on the desktop of this environment, and then you're going to copy them out to your desktop so that you have those to submit to me. All right, and this is one of those deals. Once you start a lab, you go back in, you go ahead and finish that lab, because when you go back in, you're not just restarting. Here you go. Showing you pictures of what things should look like as you begin. It says from the workstation, double click the common lab task. That's what we just did. And it's talking about reading that and what's going on. On your local computer, create the lab deliverable files. My local computer is here. And see where they're saying to deliver that. Create the lab deliverables file. Okay, I can do that. Do what, maybe Word. Okay, here's my Word document. This is on my regular PC. Lab. All right, I'm going to minimize that. All right, review the lab worksheet at the end of this lab. Those lab worksheets, again, I gave you those in eLearn, so you might want to download those and have those on your local PC before you begin. Double-click the Wireshark icon. Here you go. And then you begin to work through these steps one by one. And you just kind of scroll down as you're going. Some labs are going to be longer than others, so keep that in mind. This one, 33 steps in this first part. Notice it's got more than one part. You don't just stop. You need to do all these. Here's part 3. Okay. I started Wireshark like they said. So notice I'm beginning to really move along in these. I'm already down to here. Maximize the Wireshark window. We've all done maximize. Gives it the major space. But yet on the left, you'll notice you've still got your nice environment with your instructions one by one. When you maximized it, if you're not sure what it should look like, you can click and bring that up and it's going to show, and that's exactly what we have. Talks about the main parts of the screen and what those are, and it's going to say double click student in the capture section. Well, there is student, and I double clicked on it and I began to work through these steps. This software is all housed out there on JB Learning servers. None of it comes back on you. The only thing you're going to bring back is you're going to transfer your finished reports back so that you can submit those to me. But here it talks about some of the other things that you'll need to do, and it tells you step by step, and again, screenshots along the way. As we progress this semester, if there's anything that you need from me, please don't hesitate to let me know. Glad to help in any way that I can. It tells up here I've got 237 minutes yet to finish this lab, so I'm going to say reconnect is like, for some reason you got disconnected, it'll restart. I'm going to tell it to leave the page and just go out because there's nothing else I need. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to get away from all my JB Learning because I'm good there. Okay, I'm back into eLearn because a couple more things I wanted to show you. Here's chapter 2. I do have some more of these top articulate modules. I've got it here. I do have an articulate module for chapter 3 and some other things. Chapter 4, I believe, is where I don't have any more. I had to switch to plain PowerPoints because the school did not pick up the license, and that was all that I could get done in the time before my license expired. Was 3 of those, which took quite a bit of time. But here we go on to these, and I remind you again what to read and some of the different things. Again, this has been Julia Bell, and welcome to class. If you need anything, please don't hesitate to let me know. You can email me. You can join Slack and send messages out there. The beauty of Slack is we all see the same thing. So if one person asks a question, it's a great forum where I can share that answer with everyone. Again, if you need me, don't hesitate to email me and let me know. I'd be very glad to help you in any way that I could. Thanks so much and have a great day.